The scene opens on a ruined castle at night, giving off major spooky vibes. We see Vlad climbing out of the rubble like he just spawned in. The narrator starts yapping about how a star in darkness is still a star if it wants to shine, basically saying Vlad has main character energy even if he looks wrecked. He's using a sword to hold himself up, totally out of breath. Suddenly, Jamina pulls up, catching him in 4K. She's smirking because she knows he's obsessed with that sword. Vlad is annoyed, telling her to quit pressing him because he's already stressed. But Jamina doesn't care. She drops the bomb that people are talking about him. Vlad gets defensive, asking for the tea, but she panics and changes the topic to the voices in his head. Major red flag. Jamina asks if he still hears the voices when he holds a stick. Vlad gives her the silent treatment, which confirms she's right. Turns out, bro got struck by black lightning, a super rare event, and now he's got supernatural PTSD. Jamina warns him that the new bishop is a former inquisitor who can sniff out anything sus. If the church catches Vlad acting weird, he's getting cancelled. Literally, at the stake. Vlad starts spiraling, feeling the danger is real. Jamina claims she's just looking out for him because the whole town saw the lightning strike. She begs him to stop staring at the sword in public, but Vlad refuses to act like a criminal just for admiring some loot. He's down bad for this sword, but he's broke. Vlad finally admits the sword costs 5 gold. Jamina is shook. She thought she could buy it for him with pocket change, but 5 gold is enough to retire for a year. They're laughing about being broke until the blacksmith interrupts. This boomer is salty, yelling that the sword isn't for slum kids. Jamina claps back, asking who else is gonna buy it in this neighborhood. The old man gets triggered when she calls him old and tells her to go wash dishes. She's about to throw hands, but Vlad drags her away to de-escalate. The blacksmith keeps roasting them as they leave, but then he notices Vlad's deep footprints in the dirt. He realizes Vlad stood there for hours. Respect earned. He wants to sell the sword, only to someone that is capable to get out of there. Cut to the city of Shawara, specifically a shady tavern in the slums. Some shirtless mercenary is crashing out on a woman, accusing her of selling fake meds. He claims he knows because he's a vet. Vlad steps in with zero hesitation. The mercenary recognizes him as the candle maker and demands to see the manager. When Vlad says it costs gold to see the madam, the guy loses it and insults Vlad's mom. Big mistake. Vlad locks in and proposes a bet. If the candles work as advertised, he gets to beat the guy up. If they fail, the guy can do whatever. The mercenary agrees, thinking it's an easy win. But Vlad's eyes start glowing blue. He's standing on business. They wait 5 minutes for the candle test. It burns perfectly. The mercenary is cooked. Before he can even process his L, Vlad smacks him in the face with a wooden staff. He kicks the guy into a back room and locks the door. The mercenary is begging for mercy, but Vlad goes full demon mode because the guy disrespected his mom. The beatdown is so loud the whole street hears it. The next morning, Vlad is eating breakfast like nothing happened. Marcella, the madam, is furious that someone tampered with her candles. Vlad is confused until Marcella grins and admits she tampered with them to scam drunks. Vlad feels a little guilty for beating the guy, but hey, he secured the bag. Vlad walks out and gets stopped by Burley and his crew. They want a cut of Vlad's earnings. Burley isn't just begging, he's selling a kid named Ned who got caught stealing. He offers the kid for 40 silver. Vlad checks if Ned is still in one piece and pays the ransom to save him. Burley laughs, happy with the quick cash, while Vlad tells Ned to get lost. He just spent his savings again. That 5 gold goal is looking impossible. Later, Vlad visits Harbin, a guy with no fingers who works for Captain Hoover. They talk about the candle scam rumors. Harbin drops some lore. If people are desperate for cash, it means war is brewing between the 5 bosses of the slums. Harbin lists the 5 bosses: Jorge, Black Bear, Dice, Hoover, and One-Armed Jack, Money Grubber. The vibes are getting dark. Suddenly, Money Grubber himself pulls up to Vlad's shop with his goons. Vlad is stunned. A ponytailed thug calls Vlad a brat and slams the table, knocking candles everywhere. Vlad doesn't flinch. He calmly starts picking up the candles, hitting the thug with maximum disrespect by ignoring him. The thug tries to kick him, but Vlad is too quick. He sweeps the guy's leg and smacks him in the face with his staff. The room is dead silent. Vlad stands over the thug, looking down at him. Even Money Grubber is impressed by the audacity. Instead of ordering his men to jump Vlad, Money Grubber starts clapping with his hook hand. He loves the violence. He asks if Vlad remembers who took his arm, but Vlad claps back, saying that person is probably dead. Just then, Jorge arrives with his squad. The tension between the 2 bosses is thick. They exchange fake pleasantries, but it's on sight. Money Grubber decides to leave, but before he dips, he calls Vlad a shining star and offers him a job. He tosses a gold coin as a tip for the broken candles. Vlad is shocked. Bro just handed him a bag for being violent. Money Grubber leaves, and Jamina calls Vlad upstairs. The plot thickens. Upstairs, the mood is grim. Jorge gives Vlad a rare, expensive dagger. He tells Vlad to keep it on him at all times because things are about to get messy. Jorge drops the news. Vlad needs to quit the candle business. Why? Because one-armed Jack is importing mercenaries and former knights into the slums. The power balance is broken, and Jorge's crew is technically losing. They need Vlad to step up as a fighter. Vlad is shook. He went from candle maker to soldier in 5 minutes. He thinks about Harbin, who succeeded despite his disabilities, and decides to lock in. He realizes his quiet life is officially over. Vlad starts training with his staff, trying to level up. But suddenly, the voice in his head comes back. It's critiquing his form, telling him to adjust his elbow angle. This is the demonic whisper he's been hearing since he got struck by that black lightning a month ago. Every time he touches a weapon, the voice starts backseat gaming. Vlad is annoyed and tries to ignore it, thinking he needs holy water to exorcise this glitch. He grips the staff again, determined to silence the noise, but the voice keeps giving him pro tips. Whether he likes it or not, Vlad is stuck with this mysterious coach living in his brain. Vlad listens to the mysterious voice in his head and adjusts his elbow angle. Instantly, the strike feels different. Smooth, precise, like he's actually holding a sword. He realizes this voice might actually be cooking, leading him down a path to straight mastery. Main character energy is loading. Cut to a snowy mountain range. A man wipes blood off his blade, talking to himself about how the cold hits different when you're older. He senses someone hiding nearby and calls them out. Smirk on his face. He thinks he's him. Vlad steps out, blonde hair and blue eyes, making him look like a noble. He hands over a sealed letter from Jorge. The knight, supposedly Sir Stanga, reads the letter. He realizes Jorge is asking for backup against a mercenary op. He agrees to follow Vlad, but immediately starts roasting him, calling him dumb, and saying he'll unalive him if they get lost. He says if Vlad fumbles the bag, it's on sight. Vlad doesn't flinch, staring him down with zero fear. Stanga is actually shook by the kid's boldness. He didn't expect a slum rat to stand on business like that. He sees potential, a fire worth feeding. They set up camp in a cave, and the silence is loud. Stanga catches Vlad staring and calls him a clueless bumpkin. Stanga keeps yapping about cutting Vlad in half, but Vlad ignores the red flags and pulls out some beef jerky. He starts roasting it over the fire, and the smell has Stanga down bad. The knight tries to act nonchalant, claiming his pride won't let him beg, but his stomach is glitching. He offers a trade, answers for a piece of meat. Vlad trolls him, asking how many pieces he wants. Stanga has to swallow his ego to get a snack. Vlad asks for his name and age. Stanga claims he's 42. Vlad hands over the meat, but knows that age claim is total cap. Vlad asks the real question. Can you use aura? Stanga laughs, thinking Vlad is a noob, but decides to flex. He says he needs to summon his inner world and closes his scarred left eye. Suddenly, his sword lights up with a blinding blue glow. It's a massive visual flex, and he claims it's the soul of a knight. Vlad is mesmerized. Later, they sneak into the city through a hole in the wall. Stanga complains about looking dusty, acting like a diva. Vlad reminds him they need to blend in with the NPCs to avoid aggro from the guards. They get inside, but the vibes are rancid. The streets are dead silent until they find bodies lying on the ground. Vlad realizes the gang war has already gone fatal. He tells Stanga to take the secret back entrance while he acts as a decoy at the main gate. Vlad rushes to the shop and finds it absolutely cooked. Jorge is wrapped in bandages, looking like he went 10 rounds with a boss monster. Jorge admits Money Grubber has some heavy hitters. Vlad tries to hype up the situation, telling Jorge that Stanga is here and huge bonus, the guy can use aura. Jorge freezes. Stanga can't use aura. The realization hits like a truck. Before Vlad can process that he's been traveling with a fraud, the guy walks in. He's covered in blood and dropping evil monologue bars. His name isn't Stanga, it's Godwin. He killed the real guy in the mountains. He mocks the dead count and pours himself a drink just to be disrespectful. Jorge is ready to crash out. He draws his sword, but Godwin is moving different. He dodges effortlessly, shattering the glass and toasting to the new villain in charge, Count Sigmund. Godwin reveals he's here to drag Jorge back to the new count, but Jorge refuses to simp for a tyrant. They start fighting, but the skill gap is massive. Godwin is speed blitzing everyone. Vlad realizes it's doomed and rushes Marcella to safety. Outside, Burley and the squad are confused, but suddenly, Jorge gets thrown through the ceiling. Godwin jumps down, looking at them like they're ants. He's playing with his food. Vlad tries to intervene, throwing a dagger given to him by Jorge, but Godwin deflects it without even looking. The disrespect is wild. Vlad screams at Jorge to move, and the boss barely dodges a fatal strike. Jorge tries to talk sense into Godwin, appealing to his humanity, but Godwin says he's locked in as a knight, not a human. He gets bored of the yap session and decides to end it. He closes his eye, the same move he showed Vlad in the cave, and unleashes his true aura. It's not just a glow, it's a nuke. Blue lion-shaped energy blasts everyone. Vlad gets ragdolled across the room. When the dust settles, the squad is deleted. Jorge is the only one left, barely hanging on. The scene is gruesome. Godwin walks up and literally takes Jorge's head, no hesitation. Vlad watches his mentor get finished in 4K. His mind breaks. He grabs Jorge's sword and screams, charging at Godwin. The mysterious voice tells him to chill, but Vlad is fully crashed out. He swings, and for a split second, his form is perfect. That black lightning buff is real. He didn't think the rat had hands like that. Vlad collapses, his body unable to handle the glitch. Godwin stands up, wiping the dirt off. He considers ending Vlad, but decides to let him cook for a few years. He tosses 2 pieces of jerky at Vlad, a refund for the cave deal. He admits he lied about his age and name, basically saying, "Get good, kid." He walks away with Jorge's head as a grim trophy. Vlad is left on the floor, traumatized but locked in on one goal: revenge. He screams Godwin's name, swearing on everything he'll unalive him next time they meet. His villain origin story is officially complete. Vlad is absolutely cooked. Like 1 HP left, flashing red screen type beat. He collapses, and we get a flashback to Marcella standing over him, delivering a reality check that hits harder than a truck. She slaps him and drops the lore. City kids have infinite respawns and safety nets, but for slum kids like them, one fumble and it's game over. You don't get to bounce back from failure when your spawn point is the trenches. She tells him to lock in, because this opportunity is a one-time drop. Back in reality, Vlad activates main character energy. The pain is glitching his system, but he wipes the sweat and forces himself up. No cap, he's ready to stand on business. An enemy NPC spots them and starts shouting, blowing their cover instantly. Vlad goes from 0 to 100, grabbing Jamina's hand and speed blitzing through the alleys. The ops are confused, spinning in circles like their AI broke. But the leader? It's that ponytail goon Vlad humiliated earlier, the one who got his teeth rearranged. He's salty, down bad for revenge, and puts a bounty on their heads. The whole squad scatters to hunt them down. Ironically, in their rush to secure the bag, the goons run straight past the door where Vlad and Jamina are camping. It's pure plot armor, but the tension is high-key suffocating. Inside the blacksmith's crib, the vibes are anxious. Vlad knows they can't camp here forever. The zone is closing in. He tells Jamina to split up so she can get to safety, trying to be the hero, but she's not having it. She refuses to leave him, crashing out emotionally because she promised Marcella she'd stick by him. Vlad loses his cool and calls her an idiot, telling her straight up he can't protect her right now. He's trying to be realistic, but he accidentally makes her cry. That's when they get caught lacking. A voice demands to know who's in the house. Jamina grabs a knife, ready to fight the whole lobby. The blacksmith enters with a lamp, catching them in 4K. Jamina immediately starts pressing him, waving the knife and calling him an old man. She's acting tough, but the blacksmith sees right through the front. She's shaking like a leaf. He tells her to chill, but she demands the sword Vlad was eyeing earlier. She's standing on business, threatening to stab him if he doesn't hand over the loot. The blacksmith isn't even fazed. He looks at her and realizes this is just how the slums rewire your brain. Survival mode 24/7. He calls her situation pitiful, which triggers her into a full-on crash out. Jamina charges, and for a second, it looks like she's about to delete him. But instead of violence, she pulls an unexpected move. She slashes off her own red hair with the blade. She offers the hair as payment, pleading with tears in her eyes, just so Vlad can get the sword. The desperation is loud. The blacksmith is actually shook. He realizes Vlad is chasing a dream he gave up on ages ago. Respecting the hustle and the sheer aura of these kids, he folds. He agrees to help them escape, proving he's actually a real one. He loads them into a trash wagon to smuggle them past the blockade. The stealth mission is risky. The blacksmith covers Gemina, now disguised as a boy, under a hood, but the ops stop them at the checkpoint. The thug leader is suspicious, asking why he's doing a trash run at this ungodly hour. The blacksmith passes the charisma check, lying about feeding a poor kid, but the thug isn't buying it fully. He inspects the cart where Vlad is buried under the garbage. The thug makes a comment about taking out the trash and jams a spear into the pile. Vlad is literally sweating bullets underneath, hoping the RNG gods are on his side. The spear misses Vlad by inches. The thug smirks and mentions repaying a debt of 40 silver coins that his brother Ned owed. It turns out he knew Vlad was there the whole time, but decided to let him slide because Vlad had helped his brother before. Talk about clutch karma. He lets them pass, effectively clearing their wanted level. Outside the city, they dump the trash, and Vlad emerges with the sword. The blacksmith watches them leave, realizing his masterpiece is finally in the hands of someone who's going to use it to level up. Vlad finally has his weapon and is ready to grind. Vlad starts yapping to the sword, and surprisingly, the sword yaps back. The voice has amnesia though. It knows everything about combat, but nothing about its own backstory. Vlad doesn't care if it's a demon or a glitch. He needs the power to fight the boss monsters of this world. Meanwhile, scene shift to Joseph Beast, a rich kid strategist playing chess on a map. He's bored because the war is too easy. His subordinate, Jorger, reports a glitch in the Matrix. Someone is speedrunning goblin kills with insane precision. Joseph smells a Smurf account. Joseph inspects the kill feed, the dead goblins. He notices the difference in skill is sus. A month ago, the kills were sloppy, total noob work. Yesterday, surgical precision. He realizes someone is leveling up at an impossible rate. He thinks he's found a genius. Cut to the battlefield. Vlad is disguised as Raymond the mercenary. His squad is terrified of a massive hobgoblin boss, but Vlad steps up with zero fear. He's got that I'm him energy. The squad thinks he's cooked, but Vlad is just farming XP at this point. The hobgoblin swings, and Vlad barely dodges. The voice in the sword roasts him for laggy movement, telling him to get good. Vlad admits he's still learning the mechanics. The monster rages, smashing the ground, but Vlad uses the dust as a smokescreen. While the mob is confused, Vlad speed blitzes and one-shots it, cleaving the torso clean. Joseph puts the pieces together. This praying Riemann is the anomaly he's been looking for. Vlad stands over the boss corpse, aura radiating off him. He's not just a slum kid anymore. He's a problem. Goethe is trying way too hard to ride Vlad's coattails, thinking they're about to be the ultimate duo, but Vlad is giving absolute zero energy. Bro is literally yapping about their synergy, but Vlad stands on business, cutting him off cold. He tells Goethe to shut his trap because he doesn't vibe with phonies. Goethe tries to flex, knowing a blacksmith to secure the bag, but Vlad crashes out, warning him that running his mouth is a death wish. Goethe backpedals so fast he's moonwalking, terrified of Vlad's aura. Vlad decides he needs to ditch this clingy NPC ASAP. Meanwhile, the squad is looting goblin bodies, but our boy Vlad is moving different, heading into the woods alone. The mercenaries are convinced Vlad is some holy saint because he keeps disappearing into the forest. They think he's praying, hypothesizing he's got noble blood or main character energy. But reality check, Vlad isn't praying. He's getting absolutely roasted by his sword. The sword voice is flaming him for not one-shotting the hobgoblin, calling his skills mid and treating him like a noob. It's trying to teach him wham and whoosh mechanics, but Vlad is just confused. While the camp thinks he's farming faith stats, he's actually fighting for his life against verbal abuse from a weapon. The misunderstanding is unreal, but Vlad takes the L and keeps training. Breakfast time, and the vibes are off. The soup looks like toxic waste, and Vlad is the only one with enough survival instinct to question the suspicious meat. The other mercs are down bad, eating whatever RNG slop is in the bowl because free food is free food. They try to pressure Vlad to eat, but he hits them with the no thanks and leaves the bowl. The chat is confused, thinking he's fasting for gains. One hater says Vlad will never be him, but little do they know, Vlad is playing a completely different game. He heads to the priest's tent, dodging the potential food poisoning arc like a pro. Father Andrea is looking like Einstein and glazing Vlad's devotion. He thinks Vlad is freezing in the woods for God, not realizing Vlad is just getting coached by a sword with an attitude problem. Vlad plays the role of the humble believer, clutching his faith to hide his secrets. He considers ghosting the camp before Sir Joseph gets suspicious, but the sword voice warns him that running is a low IQ play. Suddenly, Vlad senses a massive aura spike. He readies his blade, but it's Sir Jorger, sneaking up like a boss monster. Jorger summons him to see Joseph. Vlad realizes he's cooked if he doesn't play this perfectly. Vlad walks into the boss room to meet Joseph Beast. He tries to keep his poker face, but Joseph starts reading his IP address immediately. Joseph clocks the blonde hair and blue eyes, asking if he's Raymond. Vlad caps, and Jorga instantly slaps the soul out of him for lying. Joseph shuts the book and exposes Vlad as a runaway from Shora City with no father. It's a caught in 4K moment. Vlad tries to clap back with sarcasm about his mom, but Jorga sweeps his leg, putting him in the dirt. Joseph is cold, demanding to know where a slum kid got such elite skills. The pressure is insane. Vlad realizes he can't win a physical fight here, so he switches to a charisma build. He fabricates a story about a mysterious, unnamed mentor who taught him the undefeated secret and vanished. It's pure plot armor lying, but Joseph seems intrigued by the conviction. The tension drops, and Joseph pivots. He offers Vlad a way out of the trenches, power, freedom, and a path to knighthood. He basically asks Vlad to join his guild. Vlad is stunned that his bluff worked, listening as Joseph proposes a sponsorship deal that sounds too good to be true. He's officially entered the big leagues. Cut to the training arc. Vlad is sparring Jorga, and the skill gap is massive. Jorga is literally playing with one hand behind his back, disrespecting Vlad's entire existence while calling him a cocky brat. The spectators are hyping it up, but Vlad is fighting for his life. Jorga is speed blitzing him, but Vlad locks in. He reads a pattern, blocks, and nearly lands a counterstrike. The crowd goes wild, but Jorga blocks it effortlessly. The knight mocks him, saying one lucky hit doesn't make him valid. Vlad is exhausted, realizing he's still stuck in the tutorial levels compared to a real knight. Vlad is fuming, telling the sword that Jorga is a terrible teacher who just wants to bully him. The sword disagrees, pointing out that Jorga is forcefully fixing Vlad's glitchy movements. Meanwhile, Joseph and Jorga are debriefing. Jorga admits Vlad has S-tier potential but is too arrogant and feral. Joseph, playing 4D chess, decides they need to cage Vlad, give him the illusion of freedom while controlling his every move. They don't trust him, but they want to exploit his stats. It's a toxic manipulation tactic, but Joseph is focused on the long game and securing the asset. Late night, and things get spooky. Goethe, the Yap god, actually saw something valid. He witnessed Captain Roderick crash out and walk into the woods like a zombie, surrounded by a dirty, cursed aura. Goethe corners Vlad, dropping the info that the forest is actually cursed and is taking people. He explains that the deserters didn't run, they were snatched by the server environment. Vlad tries to bonk Goethe for talking crazy, but when Goethe mentions Roderick is gone, Vlad realizes it's not a joke. The plot just switched from action to survival horror, and the stakes just went through the roof. Goethe drops the final clue. The forest only takes men with black hair. It's a specific glitch in the Matrix. Jorga prepares the squad to investigate, and Goethe is forced to lead, regretting every life choice that led him here. Jorga asks Vlad if Goethe is trustworthy. Vlad admits Goethe is a snake, but he's not hallucinating. This validation is enough for Jorga to initiate the quest. They head into the cursed zone, with Joseph viewing this as a chance to farm data on the enemy. Vlad, Goethe, and the knights are walking straight into a boss raid, and nobody is safe. Jorga is still pressed about the black hair situation, feeling mad paranoid since he fits the description too. He grills Vlad again, but Vlad tries to keep it chill, mentioning the knights stationed at the post. Jorga isn't buying it though. He thinks everyone else is an NPC compared to him. They pull up to the expedition camp where Iran, a total background character, admits they found 0 clues. Jorga realizes he has to do everything himself if he wants results. Meanwhile, Goethe is salty, feeling like Vlad capped to get him here, but Vlad tells him to trust the process. They link up with Jorga again, who starts roasting them for being country bumpkins. Vlad claps back, claiming he's from the city. Jorga asks how city folk track people, and Vlad hits him with the most unhinged response. Just beat him up till they talk? Jorga decides Vlad is mid and hopeless. Spotting a frozen river that hasn't been checked, Jorga decides it's time to cross. They split into squads. As they step onto the ice, Goethe's intuition starts tweaking. He knows they're walking into a trap. He tries to tell Vlad the vibes are off, but Vlad isn't trying to hear it. He tells Goethe to lock in or get left behind. Goethe is shaking, knowing his skill gap is too wide to survive alone. Vlad goes full savage mode, threatening to end Goethe himself if he tries to dip. Goethe is literally trembling, terrified the ice is gonna crack. He drops to his knees, refusing to move, acting like a total bot. Vlad grabs him, fed up with carrying this dead weight, but then Goethe screams. He spots bodies under the ice, caught in 4K. Suddenly, the ice shatters. The bodies aren't just corpses, they're undead ops. It's a massive ambush. Jorger realizes they got baited hard. The enemy was camping this spot, waiting for nightfall to jump them. Chaos erupts as the squad gets surrounded. While the River squad is fighting for their lives, the POV switches to the main camp. Priest Andrea is praying, but the server connection with the divine seems laggy. The water in a chalice starts floating. Major glitch in the matrix. A thick fog rolls in, and a ghostly woman appears, whispering about finding her child. Back at the river, Sir Roderick has been turned into a zombie boss monster. He lunges at Goethe, who is uselessly screaming. Vlad steps in with main character energy, speed blitzing the zombie to save Goethe's life. But the horde keeps coming, and Vlad is getting annoyed at Goethe for just standing there. Vlad is fighting 1v100 while Goethe is stuck in a fear loop. Vlad tries to get him to pick up a spear, but Goethe is down bad. The voice in Vlad's head tells him to focus. Meanwhile, Jorger is absolutely cooking the undead. He realizes the trap is endless and decides to stop holding back. He activates his aura. His eye patch glows green like he just toggled on hacks. The morale of the mercenaries shoots up, seeing a high-level player go off. Jorger shouts a new quest to Vlad. Defend Joseph Beast at all costs. Vlad accepts the mission and starts carving a path out of the ice. Vlad grabs Goethe and books it towards the camp. Jorger stays behind to hold the line, his green aura flames flickering. He prays Vlad makes it in time, but then Jorger senses a presence behind him. It's zombie Roderick. Jorger apologizes to his old friend before preparing to stand on business against him. Back at camp, Joseph is bored until Vorten bursts in, capping about checking on safety. Joseph exposes him instantly. Vorten forgot his weapon. He's just a coward fleeing the grind. Joseph would usually execute him for being this pathetic, but Father Andrea enters with bad news. The holy book starts moving on its own. Cursed text. Andrea admits this evil is above his pay grade. Joseph realizes he has to take charge. He walks out into the fog, where his men are getting mind-controlled by the ghost woman. She spots Joseph and screams, "My child!" It's getting spooky for real. She rushes him, but Andrea clutch blocks her with a divine barrier. Joseph watches from inside the bubble, realizing 2 of his best knights already got folded by this ghost. The barrier is taking heavy damage, and the young priest deacon is coughing up blood trying to keep the buffs active. Joseph knows they're running out of time. The barrier is cracking. Suddenly, Vlad launches an aerial sneak attack, sword glowing blue. But the voice warns him, physical damage is 0 against this ghost. Vlad pauses mid-air like, brah. The voice proposes a risky play. Let me possess you to use aura. It's dangerous. Vlad might crash out afterwards, but he has no choice. He agrees to let the voice take the controller. Vlad's body glows with immense power as the voice pilots him. He slashes through the ghost, dispersing the mist in one hit. The attack lands, but the recoil hits Vlad instantly. He drops to the ground, screaming in agony as the possession ends. Joseph is shook, realizing Vlad just used high-tier aura. But the victory is short-lived. The ghost woman reboots. She's not dead yet. She starts reaching for Vlad, who is currently paralyzed and vulnerable. Joseph sees his protector down and makes a wild decision. He leaves the safety of the barrier, sprinting out to save Vlad. He ignores Andrea's warnings and grabs Vlad, trying to drag him to safety before the ghost can snatch his soul. It's a chaotic scene. Joseph, usually the one being protected, is now trying to clutch up for Vlad. The ghost is closing in, screaming for her child. Vlad is barely conscious, the backlash from the aura possession leaving him completely drained. The situation is looking absolutely cooked. The witch is tweaking, gripping Joseph's leg like she's trying to drag him to the shadow realm. Joseph is down bad, feeling mid, until Vorten clutch blocks the attack from behind. He yeets them to safety, and for once, Joseph actually glazes the guy. But Vlad? He's running on 1 HP, but is absolutely locked in. He asks Father Andrea to bless his blade, literally blood-coating it for that extra holy damage buff. He marches back into the boss room, 0 hesitation. Vlad steps up, and the witch isn't even fighting back. She's begging for her kid. Suddenly, Vlad catches a POV shift, a trauma dump of memories. Mother's trapped, kids dying. It's caught in 4K. Vlad realizes she wasn't just an NPC monster. She was a grieving mother stuck in nightmare mode. He grants her mercy, driving the sword through her skull to end the lag. As she fades, she turns human again, finally seeing her child in Vlad. A massive W for empathy, no cap. Cut to the forest. The sorcerer is chilling with his evil box, thinking he's him, until his dark Wi-Fi cuts out. He realizes someone unplugged his controller. He's shook, wondering who could possibly skill check his puppet. Boom, enter Sir Jorger. The green-eyed knight pulls up to the sorcerer's IP address in full A+ tier gear. The sorcerer starts trembling because he knows the skill gap is massive. He's about to catch the banhammer for real. Jorger is not here to play games. Jorger definitely stood on business. He hands Joseph the sorcerer's severed head like it's a participation trophy. Savage mode enabled. They discuss the cursed box, but the real tea is Joseph admitting the mission was a flop. However, Joseph smiles because he found a replacement sword. He envisions Vlad with blue flames, total S-tier aura. He's predicting Vlad is gonna be the server admin of Swordsman soon. Major glazing from the boss, but valid. Vlad wakes up after being AFK for 3 days, looking like he lost a fight with a truck. The sword voice is like, "Yeah, you almost crashed out, fam." Vlad walks out to an empty camp. Everyone ghosted except Goethe. Goethe immediately starts yapping about how he stayed for the bag, pay raise, and tries to flex his contribution. Vlad is just trying to process life, but Goethe is living in his ear rent-free, begging for a good word with the boss. Vlad escapes the yapping to meet Joseph, who pours up some fancy noble juice. Joseph gets deep, telling Vlad that while the contract was just paper, Vlad's loyalty was legit. He passed the ultimate vibe check. Joseph admits he needs that energy on his roster. He doesn't just ask, he demands Vlad join the backseat family. It's an official invite to the major leagues. Vlad secures the bag and the status upgrade. He's officially part of the squad now. The squad rolls up to Varna. Vlad is looking around like a total noob who's never touched grass outside the slums. Jorger roasts him, calling him a country bumpkin. Vlad is ready to blow his paycheck on food, but Deacon intercepts him for a side quest at the church. The building is massive, holy drip unmatched. Vlad realizes he's been calling himself Praying Raymond, but has never actually prayed. Imposter syndrome hits hard. Father Andrea pulls up and hands Vlad a church ID token. This isn't just plastic, it's got Andrea's name as guarantor. That's insane religious clout. Vlad is shook. A kid with no background, basically an NPC to the world, now has the high priest vouching for him. Vlad drops to a knee, hit with positive emotional damage. He's no longer just Vlad, he's Vlad of Shore. This is a canon event for his character development. Wholesome moment for real. They reach Sturma, the capital. Jorger tells Vlad and Goethe to stop acting like bots and stand still. They sneak into a golden waiting room because standing is mid. Suddenly, a wild noble appears. Ratiger Bizid. The guy's aura is suffocating. He's practically mogging them just by breathing. He stares into Vlad's soul, surprised that Vlad isn't shaking. He offers peanuts, trying to be chill, but the tension is thick enough to cut with a sword. Vlad looks at the peanuts and hits Ratiger with a, "No thanks, we were told not to eat." Absolute savage mode, following orders over pleasing a noble. Goethe is shedding bricks, thinking they're cooked. Ratiger just shrugs it off. Cut to Joseph talking to his dad, the big boss Bizid. The dad agrees to let Joseph train Vlad, but warns him it's gonna be tough. Joseph leaves, needing a health tonic. Heavy foreshadowing that Joseph is fragile, but Vlad is his hope. Lord Bizid is locked in on his paperwork, reviewing reports about the undead curses spreading through Varna. Ragmus warns him that ignoring this is a huge L, hinting that a powerful sorcerer or secret faction might be pulling the strings. Lord Bizid isn't having it. He stands on business, swearing to crash out on anyone messing with his turf. Later, Joseph finally returns with Jorger. Goethe is hyped to see them, but Joseph treats him like a total NPC, sending him to bed hungry and ghosting the conversation to focus on Vlad. Joseph sits Vlad down and calls him out, saying his logic, wanting to serve but also wanting freedom, means the math ain't mathing. He demands the real tea. Vlad reveals he's hunting Godwin, the Knight of the Blue Moon. Joseph is shook because Godwin is the guy who destroyed the Rose's smile. Vlad gets hit with a massive trauma dump, remembering the severed head and chaos of that night. Even though Godwin is his biggest op, Vlad low-key respects the guy's power, admitting he caught him in 4K with that skill gap. Joseph admits he can't touch Godwin directly, but he offers a clutch deal, a 7-year contract. Vlad thinks that's a long time to be locked in, but Joseph promises to turn him into an absolute unit with S-tier training and food. Plus, he drops a bomb. He knows where Jemina is, and she's safe at a monastery. This info has Vlad stunned. Joseph asks what Vlad wants to achieve with a sword, hinting he has his own secret weapon to share, basically rizzing Vlad up with the promise of future power. Later, Joseph is glazing Vlad to Jorger hard. Jorger thinks Joseph is desperate, but Joseph insists Vlad is him. He sees Vlad not just as a tool, but a wolf chasing the moon. Jorger warns that Vlad is reckless and feral, but eventually agrees to be the drill sergeant. He promises to tighten the leash. Joseph is hyped, convinced that awakening Vlad's talent is going to be a major W for the family. He knows talent when he sees it, and Vlad has that main character energy. Jorger shows Vlad his new room. It's basic mid-tier stuff, but to Vlad, who lived in alleys, it's a luxury suite. Then Lady Oksana pulls up. Vlad, usually stone cold, turns beet red when she speaks to him. She's got that motherly aura, praising his eyes and hair, promising to fix his drip. Vlad is completely down bad, flustered and unable to speak properly. Jorger finds it hilarious that the savage kid from the slums gets stiffed so easily by a nice lady showing kindness. Breakfast time goes south when some NPC bully spits in Vlad's soup. The disrespect is wild. Vlad doesn't crash out immediately, he just scoops it out and keeps eating. Sigma behavior. The bullies are confused by his lack of reaction. As the ringleader leaves, Vlad asks for his name, Sunin. He memorizes it like he's grabbing his IP address. The air gets heavy. Vlad is plotting something devious, and the bullies don't even realize they are already cooked. Lord Bizid and his assistant watch the training from the balcony. They spot Vlad. Bizid notes Vlad's good looks, but calls his fighting style sloppy. However, he sees the potential. Vlad is locked in, fighting with pure aggression. His wooden sword is moving so fast it's a blur. He's not using fancy techniques, he's using survival instincts. The scars on his hands tell the story of his grind set. Bizid realizes this kid isn't just playing knight, he's lived through nightmare mode. Vlad demonstrates that swordsmanship is all about the feet. He uses micro-movements to bait his opponent. The guy falls for it, swinging heavy like a noob. Vlad dodges effortlessly, ankles broken, and counters hard. He lands a body blow that probably rearranged the guy's organs. But Vlad isn't done. He grabs the guy by the hair. It's not a spar anymore. It's absolute cinema of violence. He's mogging the entire training ground with his brutality. Vlad goes full savage mode, punching the guy while he's down, paying him back for the laughter in the cafeteria. The crowd is silent, shook to the core. Jorger and Bizid watch, impressed by the raw aggression. Vlad finally stops, then threatens Sunin directly. If the soup is bland, I'll call you. He walks off, leaving everyone terrified. He's not just a trainee, he's a menace. Sunin realizes he messed with the wrong one and is probably regretting his life choices. Vlad catches up with Goethe, who is freaking out about the rumors of Vlad beating people up. Vlad attempts to gaslight him, acting like it's no big deal. I was provoked, no cap, he says, claiming it's better this way so people leave him alone. Goethe isn't buying it, but Vlad doesn't care about the clout. Just then, a new character, Potri Kano, introduces himself. Vlad's rep is growing, but he's just focused on the grind. The lobby just got a lot more interesting. Vlad spins around with zero chill, hitting the trembling guy with a blunt vibe check that sends shivers down Potri Kanor's spine. Potri is shaking like a glitched NPC, completely unsure of the meta. Vlad, not having any of it, gives him an ultimatum. Sit down or log off. Potri lights up like he just pulled an SSR card, absolutely glazing the opportunity to sit next to the blonde swordsman. He scurries over, grateful, but Vlad is already sighing, regretting not banning him from the table. Potri starts yapping immediately, trauma dumping about how he usually eats in bathrooms to hide from the ops. Vlad is visibly grossed out, reminding the kid he's holding a glizzy and making it weird. But Potri has zero social awareness. He asks if the food is bussin' and then flexes that his family, the Kenners, are the server admins for the Manor's meat supply. He proudly claims his dad is the reason the menu is valid. Potri realizes Vlad wanted more sausage earlier and offers his personal stash. Vlad, who has trust issues on max settings, snaps back, suspicious of the kindness. But the next scene shows Vlad standing in a sausage paradise. Potri is loaded with loot from his dad, way more than he can consume, so he's sharing the wealth. Vlad has a sudden realization. These vassals aren't just randoms, they're whales with rich parents. The math starts mathing. If he was still in the alleys, he'd be blocked by the firewall, but now he's got access. He decides to make a strategic play. He invites Potri to eat with them permanently. Potri's eyes nearly pop out. He's down bad for friendship. Vlad claims it's for vassal unity, but we know he's securing the bag. Cut to Sir Jorger, looking absolutely cooked. He's carrying the team while Cade and Maxim are AFK, and the burnout is real. Jorger is interrupted by Sir Gregory, a burly knight with chaotic uncle energy. Jorger tries to ghost him IRL, but Gregory is persistent, teasing Jorger about his mood. Jorger tells him to quit yapping, but Gregory is grinning like he knows the cheat codes. He suggests Jorger should raise a vassal, specifically pointing out that it's not too late to start grinding XP on a student. Jorger claps back, telling Gregory to focus on his own build. That's when Gregory drops the lore. His vassal is Potri, his nephew. He admits the kid is physically mid and needs a carry. Gregory starts glazing Vlad, calling him bold and full of grit, trying to convince Jorger to make them hang out. He wants Vlad to protect Potri from getting grieved. Jorger demands payment for this service, but Gregory just laughs, saying Vlad's Sigma energy is gonna take him far. Meanwhile, at the stables, Vlad is having a major skill issue. The horses are tweaking every time he gets close, sensing his negative aura, or maybe the stench of death he carries. He remembers Goethe carrying him during the undead raid because his riding skills were trash. While he's stressing over this debuff, a maid summons him to Lady Oksana. He pulls up to a room, and she's impressed. The new drip she gave him has him looking clean, erasing the alley rat vibe. She tells him not to get too comfy though, cause he's still growing. Vlad bows, acting humble, but the imposter syndrome is hitting different. He feels like an NPC wearing a main character's skin. Walking out, he looks at the high-tier clothes and feels overwhelmed. He tells himself not to get used to the soft life, feeling like the comfort is a trap meant to nerf him. Vlad's internal monologue is cut short when he looks out the window and catches Sunin in 4K. Sunin is absolutely violating Potri, beating him and calling him a pig. It's a full-on griefing session. Sunin mocks Potri's new friendship, spitting toxic insults. Vlad realizes the server rules never change. The strong farm the weak. It triggers his villain arc. He decides the noble clothes are too soft for the demon time he's about to unleash. He goes back to his room and equips his starter gear, the alleyway rags. Later, he pulls up to Potri's door. Potri looks like he went 12 rounds with a raid boss. Vlad points at the ham, the S-tier loot, and demands it. Potri is heartbroken, thinking he's getting scammed by a fake friend. He hands it over, but Vlad drops a bar. He only takes the price that's rightfully his. He's not stealing. He's charging a protection fee. Vlad stands alone in the courtyard, gripping a wooden sword, facing down Sunin and 14 goons. It's a 1v14, but Vlad is standing on business. The ops look cocky, thinking they have the numbers advantage, but Vlad's aura is unreadable. He admits these guys are softer than the street gangs he grew up with. Sunin snaps, veins popping, demanding a rematch to fix his KD ratio. He wants to test if Vlad is really him. Vlad accepts the challenge with a smirk, revealing he changed into his rags just to make sure the blood doesn't ruin the new drip. Sunin rages and orders his clan to Zerg rush Vlad, but the moment they charge, Vlad locks in. He's relieved he's in his old gear because he's about to turn this sparring match into a trauma dump.